Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1078. Wednesday, happy hump day, trash day. It's trash and recycling day. My trash and recycling not at the curb yet, though. We ended up getting like 9 inches of snow yesterday. It was just starting to fall as we were live yesterday morning. And it snowed and it snowed. I had to snow blow twice. It was wet and heavy. And I knew if we were going to get 8 or 9 inches of snow, 8 or 9 inches of wet and heavy would be too much for my, stage one snow blower. So I went out around lunchtime and did round one. And then around 4:30 last night, did round two. It had stopped snowing around dinner time, I guess, but it was blowing. So it was pretty windy. So I have to go out again for round three this morning to shovel the sidewalk from the blowing snow. Probably have to do one more run on the driveway, sidewalk out front. And my fear is I'm blocked in from the snowplows. This is something that it's like, I know it's annoying, but I also understand why, and there's really not another way around it for most municipalities. And that is plowing in your driveway. So what happens is you go out and you're on time and you shovel and plow your driveway and sidewalks, and you're all, hey, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm clean, I don't have to go out again. And then the snow plow comes through and blocks you in your driveway. And I get, like, where else is the snow going to go? It's not like they collect the snow. Now, some places do collect the snow in like this big truck and then they dump it and there's a giant snow hill. But most places don't do that. They push it and it just goes up on into your grass, and then you have rocks in the spring in your yard. At least around here, that's what happens. So my fear is with this wet and heavy snow, what happens is I get all my snow cleared from my driveway. I'm blocked in. It gets cold because it was pretty for freezing cold. It was comfortable until the wind. But then it gets cold. It's going to get super cold in the next couple of days. So what happens is you've got wet, heavy snow. It gets colder and it freezes into like freaking giant ice cubes at the end of your driveway. And you're out there shoveling, like my snowblower, fingers crossed. I haven't gone outside yet. Hopefully it's not completely ice solid frozen. But your snowblower can't do anything unless you have one of those giant, which I should have got one of those. I was looking before winter. I'm like, ooh, I want to get one of those. But I stuck with my little wimpy snowblower. So I may have to shovel. So I didn't take the trash out because the snow plow had not been through our neighborhood as of last night. So I'm like, that would just be a nightmare putting it out. And I think there's like a city rule that you can't, like, I don't know. So I'll be putting my trash and recycling out this morning. So, which is good. This neighborhood, it's a little later. Like the dump trucks, the garbage trucks don't come as I'm broadcasting live Hobby Evolution. They come later in the morning. So I get a little time. Everything seems a little delayed in this neighborhood. The mail doesn't come until like 3, which it's like, I want my mail. Speaking of mail, I did get some mail yesterday. I got another Adon Sanchez. Actually, I think I've got 3 more. This didn't come yesterday. This came a couple days ago. This is the Blue Mojo. I think I'm now up to 40 of 55 for Adon Sanchez. I'm missing all of the 1-of-1s, and of course, there's like 6 of those. and I'm missing, I think, 2 of the 3 numbered to 5s. I'm missing a couple numbered to 10. Like, I'm down to the pretty low serial numbered. I think I am still missing the base sapphire. I haven't bought the base sapphire yet. So I did get some mail. I got one of my 8 on sale. I haven't even opened that envelope yet. I did get some Cubs mail. Shout out to Texas Card Dude, Brad Bethune. Got a box of Cubs from him. Those have been added to the count. Rick Klein from ABC News, also a fellow card collector, sent me a box yesterday. I meant to tweet that out last night, forgot. And Thomas in Evergreen Park sent me a box of Cubs. So I got to get those added. I got to get those added to my count and get my sign updated as I head out to the Cubs convention tomorrow. Also, what I got in the mail yesterday, more Beckett's. I just went all in. Once I got that free 2 big boxes of free Beckett's a couple, months ago. Now it's like, well, now I need to get the run of baseball. I don't care about football. I don't care about basketball. I don't care about hockey. I don't care about the Future Stars, although the Future Star magazines are kind of cool. I just want the Beckett baseball run. So I ended up ordering 4 lots on eBay. 3 of the 4 were delivered yesterday, which one of the lots was like basically 2022 and 2023. One of the lots was 96 and 97. Which is kind of crazy because all of these lots like match up with ones I didn't have from what I picked up Saturday and what I had previously. So I think I'm down to needing, and I do have one more lot that I picked up. I don't even think it's shipped yet, which I don't care. This lot was 2016 through 2023. So there's probably going to be some duplicates. I don't even know how many was in this lot. And these also have various sports, 17 issues in all. And it's got some football and basketball in here. But these are some of the years that I needed. So once I get that, and I'll have an idea of what I'm missing. I know I'm missing issue 1. I'm missing all of 1985. And then I think I'm missing, and then from like 1986 to 1994, I'm missing like a couple issues each year. Some years I have the complete run. But it's like, and I can tell which issues I'm missing. And some of them are still in my, like in various tubs. If there's a Cub on a cover, they're in a different tub. I think I randomly put some in another storage tub as I get them out and read them. So 96, 97, I think I filled those years. What I picked up on Saturday was like almost the complete run of like 2000 through 2017. I think I'm missing, and depending on what's in this lot, like 2020, 2021, 2019. So we'll see when this last lot comes in, see what I'm missing. And then it's going to be expensive. Like these lots are all cheap. Like, I mean, I picked up 200 issues on Saturday for 30 cents an issue, $60 for 200 magazines. Some of these lots I'm paying like $10, $20 for. I'm paying like $1 a magazine. The 100 I got for free. So I've collected like this vast amount of Beckett baseball magazines relatively cheap. Now it's like I need this one and that one. Like 1985, the first issue is like $200, but they did a reprint issue in 2001. So I'll probably just buy the reprint. I'm not spending $200 on a magazine. 1985, I think there's a lot on eBay. But I mean, it's going to set you back $5-10 a magazine. And, you know, if there's like, oh, I need the August 2019 issue, you know, it's probably going to set you back $10 ship because nobody's going to sell it for $1 with free shipping. But that's why you get it lotted up, or you find auctions, which I love auctions. By the way, the WWF magazine lot, I tweeted about this yesterday. I got 174 WWF magazine cards from 95 through 97. They were delivered on Saturday, so I got them Saturday. I think I listed the first like 50 on Saturday night. The rest of them I listed on Sunday in my eBay store. Buy it now. I paid $50 shipped, including tax, for the entire lot of 174. All but one. This one was not being picked up by the scanner, actually, because of the back. So it doesn't look like it's a back. So didn't. So 173 have been listed as of yesterday, and I paid $50 for it shipped. I made gross sales of $44.75 on 15 cards sold. So I still have 158 still in my eBay store. Buy 7 or more, get 25% off. Madison Card Show scrolling. Bottom of your screen, Saturday, January 27th. That'll be my next card show. I'm missing the Rockford show, which is this Saturday at the IBEW Banquet Hall. I'll be at Cubs Convention. So there won't be a Hobby Evolution Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We will go live tomorrow morning, and then I'll be leaving later in the morning tomorrow to head down to Chi-Town for Cubs Con. Let's go to the chat. We've got Victor in the house. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. Set cards with a reminder. It's trash and recycling day. It's a big one. This is the big day. Of course, there's a whole bunch of snow to lug the frickin' trash cans out to the snowy street. David's in the house. Good morning. Ryan Sells, what's happening? Good morning. Donald Davis is here. Good morning. Billy Joe's in the house. Good morning to you. Shane, good morning. Victor, prediction of 8 inches and got only less than an inch, but it's cold. I would have taken that. They predicted 4 to, what did they predict? 4 to 8 inches here, and we got every bit of the 8 inches. I think I saw one post on the news channel. Our area got 9 inches. So, and I mean, I don't know what we got. I had to snow blow 2 times, and I'm gonna have to go out a 3rd time. So, a lot of fucking snow. A lot of freaking snow up here. And I think I was looking at the forecast because it's like I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. Now I have to drive planes, trains, and automobiles to get to the Cubs convention. I drive an hour and 20 minutes to get to the train station. So that's what I'm most concerned about travel wise is, and it's kind of back roads, 2-lane highways. I take the interstate to Janesville, cut over 2-lane highways. So I guess 45 minutes of the drive is 2-lane highways. To Harvard, jump on the Metra. So I drive for an hour 20. I'm on the Metra for an hour and a half. And then I take a cab from Ogilvy down to the Sheraton Hotel. Planes, trains, and no planes, but trains and automobiles and cabs. So I was looking at the forecast, and I think they're predicting another snowstorm to hit Chicago, or the first snowstorm to hit Chicago this week on Friday, Saturday. But I was looking at like every station, like, okay, how much are we going to get? When is it going to hit? So now I'm even more happier that I'm driving down Thursday. I was just thinking last night, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm going down Thursday. It just makes things so much easier. It's just a pain in the ass going Friday morning because I'm waking up first thing. I mean, I wake up first thing anyway, but I basically have to have everything ready to go the night before. So I can just pick up everything and, make sure, just do one once over. Okay, hit the road, get to the train station. One year I missed, actually, I've a couple years. Last year, my car wouldn't start. Remember, my battery went dead? I had to rent a car to drive to the train station. That was a pain in the ass. So I got there a little even later than normal. one year I missed the train. So I had to drive to the next. I had to drive to two stations down to Crystal Lake, and so I got there later that day. So it's a pain in the ass lugging your stuff, and then when you get to check in at the Sheraton, it's just a zoo. It's a madhouse because a bunch of people are already there. It's like when everybody is coming in. So I'll be there Thursday. I'll have everything, and I'll just be lounging around, and I can watch the chaos. Like, oh, that I know that face. That guy walking in, I know that face. Talking Tatis, good morning. What's happening? John says, weather persons are the Jeff Wilson of news. 6 1-of-1s. Oy vey, this hobby is silly. Yeah. And I get like the 1-of-1 superfractor, I get. Okay. So that's one. Then there's 4 printing plates. Okay. Printing, are printing plates a 1-of-1? Yeah. Printing plates are the Jeff Wilson of 1-of-1s. if we're going to go by John's analogies here. Printing plates are the redheaded stepchildren of 1-of-1s. I'm not a big printing plate fan. If I can get them, I have many in my collection, my Cubs collection, but it's because I get them for like cheap, $10, $5. But I don't really, it's like 6. So that's 4 of the 6. And then there's a new one that's also cheap. It's called it's in Sapphire. It's the 1-of-1 it's basically the superfractor of Sapphire. Because I don't think Sapphire has superfractors. They have Paparadachia or whatever the hell they're like a pinkish, purplish color. And it's called like Paparadachia or something like that. But I mean, really, it's silly when you think that there are 55 different cards of this same card. There's blue, there's fuchsia, there's Paparadachia, there's 4 printing plates, there's a 1-of-1, there's red wave, there's red something else, there's blah, 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 blah. We've got mojos, we've got sapphires, we've got, it's like, what? But who's silly? Fanatics, Tops, for making 55 of the same card, or me? I'm the sillier one because I'm buying them. Well, I'm not buying them from Fanatics, but they're the dealer up the chain. They're up the chain, and I'm getting my fix. I need my fix. I need my Adon Sanchez fix. I'm getting it from my local dealer. He's up the chain with Fanatics and Tops. So who's the silly one? Me, because I'm buying this shit. But I enjoy it. And it doesn't matter. It's silly to other people. It's not silly to me. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, God, I spent how much on this guy? But hey, if he turns out to be like a stud, I'll be like, yeah. And then I won't regret not looking at my checklist and buying 3 of the same card, which I've done. Bill Simus is here. Good morning. Mr. Archer, good morning. The Cubs did a thing. Hey, we're 19 minutes in, and I buried the lead here. Shota Imanaga is a Cub. It was stimulus. Man, I mean, Cubs, this is like stimulus overload week. 9 inches of snow. I've got a snow globe 3 times. Cubs convention this weekend. Cubs convention put out an app. I'm on the app. I'm looking at the autograph schedule. Okay, I'm putting Cubs cards together. I've got friends with kids. I'm putting Cubs cards together. My count's going to go down this weekend because I'm giving Cubs cards away. So I've been like all day. I basically treated yesterday like a snow day. I spent the morning shipping, but I didn't go to the post office. I am ahead of schedule in my shipping, so I'm not late or anything. But I shipped, and then after lunch, I'm like, you know what? I need to get my shit together. And they finally put out the list. I was kind of waiting for the list of attendees for the Cubs convention. Like who's going to be the autographs. So CubsCon app comes out. I'm on that. I'm looking at the autograph schedule. Then all of a sudden I see a blip like Cubs signed Shota Imanaga. I first saw it from Bob Nightingale. I'm like, I need a second opinion. I don't trust this guy. John Heyman also. Okay, it's legit. How about that? Bob Nightingale. Breaking. Bob Nightingale. And it's correct. So, and Imanaga is going to be in Chicago tomorrow for a physical in Chicago. Cubs convention. Will he be there? Troy Barton, good morning. Christian's in the house. Good morning. Have to run to a meeting. Just stop by to drop a like. Thank you. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. What's your current travel scheme for CubsCon? So I think your comment came in before I explained. So I'll drive downtown Chicago. Now, normally you would be like, well, just drive. But you have to pay. Like parking at the Sheraton is like so freaking expensive. It's way cheaper for me to drive an hour and 20 minutes, pay for a metro back and forth and a cab a couple times than it is to pay for parking for the whole weekend. So I'll drive an hour 20 down to Harvard, Illinois, which I like. Tomorrow I'm leaving later in the day. I'm taking the 1 o'clock train because I don't want to get there too early before check-in. And then I'm just walking around cold, snowy Chicago. So, I mean, I can leave all my shit at the hotel, but with the bellhop or whatever, but I can get last minute because I plan on today getting completely caught up on shipping down to 0. And then sales that come in through the overnight and into tomorrow morning, I'll get those picked off tomorrow morning. And then it gives me a last run through of making sure I have all my stuff put together. And then I'll leave at about 11. To get the 120 train and then take the train down to Ogilvy and then hop in a cab and over to the Sheraton. And it's super, it is so easy, like taking a cab out of that train station. Like, I mean, it's literally you walk out the door, put your hand up, and then a cab comes up. Yep, good. Boom. You're in the car. I mean, less than 30 seconds. Boom, boom. And the cab ride is like a $10 cab ride. It's super cheap. I don't even think it's $10. I think it's like $8. Like, why don't you walk? Because it's fucking cold. It's January in Chicago. And I've got like a huge backpack on. I've got like a rolling luggage. It's just a whole thing. I've got a cooler with beer and water. So that's my travel scheme. Drive to Harvard, Metra, cab, boom, I'm there. Flipping Sports Guys in the house. We got a little over 3 inches of rain. They said 2 to 4. Hey, they nailed it. JW, good morning. Look at that, Andre Dawson. I'm ready for baseball. This is one of my bridges to baseball season. We've got winter meetings, kind of like little whet your appetite. Although this year didn't do much. And then I've got Cubs convention this week. Then I've got 2 months until spring training. Long 2 months. But February gives me conference tournaments in college basketball. So that helps me forget about baseball for a few weeks. Harlan's in the house. Good morning. It's also what's been nice about going through some of my old boxes of Cubs. A lot of boxes that I haven't looked at in 4 years. When did I started the thing in end of 2017. So some of these boxes I haven't looked at since 2018. And it's like kind of fun to go through and see the hits and misses of Cubs prospects. But also it's giving me a chance to double dip. Not only am I pulling cards of players that will be at Cubs convention, but also like I found 3 or 4 recent minor league team sets that I can break up and take for autographs at spring training this year. And I'm finding other okay, he's not at Cubs convention, but I'll be able to get him at spring training. So it's given me a chance to go through and look at old stuff. I'm pulling I've been logging Dylan Cease and Ernie Banks are kind of what I'm and Adon Sanchez. I'm concentrating on player wise when I log trading card database. So I found a whole bunch of Ernie Banks. So I'm able to, I don't know if I'll gain much. I've got a big stack, but I don't know how many I don't have already logged. Let's see. Let's look at my Ernie Banks collection on TCDB. Top names. I think he's still number one on my list. He is 786. I got 309 unique Ernie Banks cards. There's probably at least 20. I'm ranked 7 on TCDB. So yeah, like I'm 7 on TCDB on Ernie Banks collectors with 309 uniques logged. But the 6th place guy is 431. So I've got a ways to go. There's probably 25 more unique that I've added, a bunch of duplicates that I found, but I'm still like, I've only looked at a 10th of my collection as far as sorting through it. Maybe a little more than, maybe a 5th of my collection I've looked through. First place, the collector with the most Ernie Banks cards, 2,879. I can assure you I do not have 2,879 unique Ernie Banks cards. Second place is 662, and I'm pretty confident I have close to that or more Ernie Banks unique cards once I finally get them all found. Raphael's in the house. Good morning. Flawed Thinker is here. Good morning to you. Mark Marinello, what's happening? Pulled out the old mitt from storage. Made sure I have a supply of Icy Hot just to be sure. I haven't had a baseball mitt in probably 30 years. I think I think I did get one in high school. I think I did buy one in high school. I don't know. We didn't have high school baseball at my school. So 8th grade was, unless you played travel ball, and I wasn't good enough to play travel ball. Unless you played travel ball, you didn't go, like we had like the Pony League and what Babe Ruth. Of course, there's Little League. We had Little League, and then we had City League. And then we had, I think Pony League was when we started traveling to play other towns. Babe Ruth and Pony League. And then after that, then it's like, then you go, there was one like travel ball circuit. Like, so we did play travel ball, but it was like shitty travel ball. It wasn't like showcase travel ball by any stretch. And then there was, I think in high school, there was like I don't even know what it was called. But some of my friends played in that, but it was basically just high school ball in the summer, not affiliated, but high school ball. And by that time I didn't play, but I think I got a mitt just to like play catch one time. Like, hey, let's play catch. This is like before the internet. So like you had to go outside and play, and it's like, you get bored of doing the same old thing. Like I played basketball, like freaking 12 hours a day when I was a kid. But then sometimes like, I'm tired of playing basketball. Let's play catch. And it's like, this is boring. Let's play basketball. Jordan's in the house. What's up? Cold SoCal. Oh boy. It's cold everywhere. Max is here to correct. Okay. Paparadasha. I like Paparadashia. Paparadashia. Sounds Greek. Paparadashia. Paparadashia. Andy Mack, what's happening? Good morning. Neil's in the house. Good morning to you. Flawed Thinker scored an awesome minor league Ryan Zimmerman auto last night for $10. Just another to add to the collection. Was thinking about getting one of those framed wall displays like what's behind you. What I got cheap, I think I got it on Amazon for like $80, maybe 100, maybe, you know what? No, I think it was 125. I think there's a smaller version. That holds, this one holds what, 48? I think there's a 36 count version that was like $80 or $90. Corey Garcia, what's happening? Good morning. John says hotel parking has become a joke. It sometimes rivals the room price. It is. It's like half the price. I think the Sheraton hotel parking is half the price of a room, or maybe slightly. I mean, so it was like $50 a night or something. It was something crazy. Good morning, Brian. Just shoveled my 1,200 square foot driveway. More snow tonight. Cue the F-bomb. I hope we don't get any more. Mark says, me and my buddies have a catch in the Citi Field parking lot before the game. Picture 4 old farts chasing balls that we miss. Oh, boy. So, Cubs convention this weekend. So that's what I spent most of my day yesterday was going through old Cubs. It was kind of nice just taking a break and looking at Cubs cards, looking at cards and not shipping and listing and shipping. So I've got my entire like rec room floor is sprawled out with I may have to bring sandwich back because there's so many Cubs that have card. Like, I mean, the list of this is the CubsCon app. It's fucking amazing. So awesome. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. It is available for Android. At first, it only came out on the Apple Store, but there is an Android version now. I know a lot of people were complaining, I can't find it. But it's got it's got all the information. It's got maps if you're new. It's got the lineup. You can go up here and find, if you got frequently asked questions. What's cool is I found out there is so they have one of my favorite parts of Cubs convention is what they call a grab bag. And so it's basically this reusable bag, Cubs reusable bag, filled with stadium giveaways from the previous season. And it's $50. And you get like a bobblehead, you get like 3 shirts, you get like United Airlines was a sponsor one year, like a little toy plane, a hat, like all kinds of shit, like cool stuff. Usually I keep the bobblehead and basically sell everything else. Like I've kept some I kept the fanny pack. I used it once and it's like, it doesn't do anything for me. So I sell everything else and it usually sells at last year I sold something for like $50. Like I basically made my money back on one item out of my grab bag. So now this year they're going to have the grab bags. Plus there's going to be a bobblehead only grab bag where it's 3 bobbleheads for $50. If you know anything about Cubs bobbleheads, the stadium giveaway bobbleheads like Chris Bryant, Soler, I haven't had any. I mean, I get one a year because I don't go to the games, but I get one in the grab bag. But typically they're like $50 if you buy them on eBay. So you get 3 of them in your grab bag. Unfortunately, they only let you buy one at a time, like one per trip, I guess. So maybe I'll go back and try to sneak a second one, go back through the line a second time. But so hopefully they let you buy a grab bag and a bobblehead grab bag because I want to get both. But autograph schedule, like there's so many there's so many players that current and alumni that are there. So you've got, of course, Ryan Sandberg, Billy Williams, Fergie Jenkins, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Nico Horner, Christopher Morel, Kyle Hendricks, Justin Steele, Jamison Tyone, Jordan Wicks, Patrick Wisdom, Mike Talkman, Keegan Thompson, Adbert Alzolay, Jan Gomes, Hayden Wesneski, Miguel Amaya, Kevin Alcantara, Drew Smiley, Javier Assad, Alexander Canario. Those are just like the current guys. Nick Madrigal, Pete Crow Armstrong, Miles Mastroboni, Matt Mervis. And then you got prospects, some of the top prospects. The first rounder, Matt Shaw, is going to be there. And then you got you've got the alumni. It seems like there's less alumni this year at Cubs convention. You've got Aramis Ramirez, who hasn't been, my buddy who's been going to like every Cubs convention says he doesn't think Aramis Ramirez has been at CubsCon since his last year with the Cubs. So Aramis Ramirez is back. Ben Zobrist, Bob Dernier, Brian McRae, Dave Otto, Gary Matthews, Giovanni Soto, Glendon Rush, Jody Davis, John Lieber, Justin Grimm, Kerry Wood, Coy Hill, Leon Durham, Les Lancaster, Manny Trio, who hasn't been since I've been going at least, Matt Caesar, Miguel Montero, Pedro Strop, Randy Hundley, Ray Burris, Rick Sutcliffe, Ryan Dempster, Ryan Sweeney, Sean Dunston, Steve Traxel, Ted Lilly, Tim Stoddard, and of course some of the guys that I mentioned earlier, Fergie, Sandberg, Billy Williams. So of course, a lot of those got like Manny Trio, Les Lancaster, Bobby D, Jody Davis, Matthews. They have a lot of cards. So I'm just going to bring a stack of cards. If somebody needs a card, I'll have extras for you. A couple names that I didn't know that are like every year. Steve Trout is at Cubs convention every freaking year. He's not on the list, so I don't know if he's in poor health or he had other things come up. But he's at a lot of. He lives in Chicago, and he's at a lot of Cubs games. I mean, he hung out with us at the Brick House, which is next to Wrigley Field in the park. I saw him walking, and me and a few buddies are sitting there, and I'm like, "Hey, that's Steve Trout." I'm like, "Hey, Steve!" And he came over and hung out with us. So I'm surprised Steve Trout's not at the Cubs convention this year. Maybe he is, and he just didn't make the list of who they're advertising. They're like, we don't have to put Steve Trout. We ran out of room. Everybody knows Steve's going to be here. So I'm bringing my Steve Trout cards just in case. So the CubsCon app is just freaking awesome. So I was excited. I was on stimulus overload, and then I saw the Shota Imanaga news at the same time. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. So, and I'm not sure. I've never been down on Thursday. So I'm excited I think I'm most excited just to be there and not have to worry about Friday morning travel, my battery being dead. I guess I'll have to worry about that tomorrow, but all that crap. And Thursday night, I've heard like graphing, because a lot of the guys, especially the alumni, come in on Thursdays. So some of my graphing buddies are there, in the lobby getting graphs on Thursday night. So get ahead of the curve. John says, will Rhino's grandkids be on a shorter leash this year? Yeah, that was funny. For those that missed it last year in my Cubs convention review, I was on the same floor as Ryan Sandberg at the hotel. And there's these kids just running up and down the hallway in the hotel. And I didn't realize who they were until a friend of mine was also on that same floor. He's like, yeah, Sandberg is on our floor with his grandkids. And I'm like, I said, he's like, his grandkids are the ones that are running up and down the hallway. I'm like, okay. Orlando's here. What's going on? Good morning. Flipping Sports Guy says, are they leftover stadium? Yes, they're stadium giveaways. So they're the extra stadium giveaway bobbleheads. Brian, I agree with you 100%. Bring back Sosa. I think this is the year. Just based on I think he's getting into the Cubs Hall of Fame this year. And I think that's why he'll be. And I've mentioned this before many times, probably on Hobby Evolution throughout the 1,077 previous episodes, that I think with Sammy Sosa and the Cubs breakup, I think it's on both sides. I think both sides are at fault. I think egos have taken over, and I think Sammy probably has demands like, I'll come back if you retire my number, put a statue, put me in the Hall of Fame. I think Sammy may have some demands, and the Cubs are balking, and they're like, no, we're not going to do that. How about you come back and let's build the relationship. It's like they want to go through, I think the Cubs want to go through the courting process, and Sammy just wants a one-night stand. He's just like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I want to come back and with all this praise, and the Cubs are like, whoa, wait. We need a little foreplay. So that's what I think's going on. And I think this is the year they're going to finally be like, okay, the voters put Sammy in. Sammy's going to come back on his terms. He's in the Hall of Fame. He gets all of his accolades, and, people love him again. That's my thoughts. It's kind of like what I think is going to happen this year with Sammy Sosa and the Cubs is similar to what happens when the WWE puts a wrestler in the Hall of Fame. Like Kurt Angle comes back. He's going in the Hall of Fame, and he comes back for a year, and he's on this 1 year, he's going to main event WrestleMania, one last hurrah. That's what it's going to be for the three of you that watch wrestling. I think that's what Sammy Sosa and the Cubs, he's going to come back. He's going to be elected to the Hall of Fame. Oh, Sammy's back. We love Sammy. They're going to give him a parade at the Cubs convention. Sammy. And then he's going to go back to his never coming back to Wrigley again. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction on Sammy Sosa and the Cubs. John says Manny Trio has won 2 rings, none with the Cubs. Yeah, I think his 2 rings came between his Cubs stints. Of course, he started with the Cubs. Actually, I think he started with the Oakland Athletics in the mid-'70s. And then he came over to the Cubs in the late 70s. And he played for the Cubs, for 4 or 5 years? 76. He might have came over in 75. Manny Trio. What's Manny Trio's WAR, I wonder? Manny Trio. He had a long career. He's one of those guys, he piled up. Oh, man, he didn't pile up WAR. Despite having a 17-year career, Manny Trio's WAR is only 11.2. Manny Trio. He debuted in 1973. Wow. Went back even further with the Oakland A's. But he only appeared in 17 games that year. He played in 21 games in 74. Then he came to the Cubs in 75 and finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year. I did not know that. Rookie of the Year, 3rd place in Rookie of the Year voting. Did you know Manny Trio was a 4-time All-Star? I didn't know that either. He was a Gold Glover 3 times. He won a couple Silver Sluggers. Manny Trio, how about that? He had a pretty nice career. So he was with the Cubs 75, 76, 77, 78, and then he went to John's Phillies for the 79, 80, 81, 82 seasons. And then he split 83 with the Indians and Expos. He was with the Giants in 84 and 85, back to the Cubs for a swan song in 1986, 87, and 88. And then, I don't even remember this, but he apparently played in 17 games for the Cincinnati Reds in 1989. How about that? Look at it. How about this? Manny Trio earned $3.8 million in 17 seasons. Things were just different. Steve Traxel took a lot of heat from Mets fans because he took forever. Hey, Steve Traxel took a lot of heat from Cubs fans because he took forever to throw the ball. But he was like a given for 200 innings a season. Of course, I think in the 90s, a lot of pitchers were still going 200 innings. Wonder if he signs the same way. I'll find out. I'll let you know on Monday. Or actually, I can pop it in the, now that you mention it, I'll drop it in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group when I see Steve Traxel this weekend. I don't think Steve Traxel, since I've been coming to Cubs Convention, and my first Cubs Con was in 2015. I don't think Steve Traxel has been at Cubs Convention. So that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then there was no Cubs Convention in 21 or 22, and then last 7. So I've been to 7 conventions previous. I don't think I've met Steve Traxel. Another guy that's not going to be there is Jim Bullinger. Jim Bullinger is usually at Cubs Convention every year. He was quizzing me about Cubs cards, or not Cubs cards, but he was quizzing me about cards a couple years back, or it might have been last year. Because of course I have my sign that I wear, and he's like, "What's this all about?" So we get to talking, and he's like, "I've got a 51, but I don't have the 52 tops, but I've got the 51 Bowman mantle." And I'm like, "Shit." Now I know a guy. Like maybe Mikey can buy Jim Bullinger's 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle, but I don't think Jim Bullinger's going to be there. Damn. John says Sammy Sosa looks like Delta Burke now. Brian says Delta Burke or not, he's a legend. And damn it, made baseball fun for me as a kid. I credit Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and Kerry Wood for bringing me back to loving baseball again. Baseball was my number 1 sport. It was kind of my number 2 sport for a little while in the early 90s. Like, I thought I was going to be an NFL running back when I was 8. But football was my number 1 for a while. But baseball was kind of always my love. And then the strike killed it. And then you know what the strike did to me? You know what the baseball strike did to me? It turned me to professional wrestling. That's how bad the baseball strike was. It turned me away from baseball and on to professional wrestling until 1998. And then in 1998, I kind of got excited in April because the Cubs were in first place at the end of the month. And they were coming off a terrible 97 season, a terrible 90s, actually, a terrible decade. And then on May 6th was Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game. I'm like, hey, this team's third first place. Kerry Wood just struck out 20. And then Sammy Sosa's hitting home runs. And then all of a sudden in June, then all of a sudden it was like off the rails. And that's when the fun really began. So yeah, I credit steroids, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Kerry Wood for bringing me back to loving baseball. And baseball cards, like 98, like I was a Cubs fan and I started collecting Cubs cards in 1998. Again, I bought my first baseball hobby box in 1998. I was going to a card shop in Kelowna, Illinois, which is just outside of the Quad Cities. And I'd go there every Sunday. Like after I got my license, June of 98 is when I got my driver's license. And so me and my buddy Seth would go down to, I can't remember, the hell was it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, we went to this card shop like every Sunday, and I'd go through the quarter box and I'd buy like Mickey Morandini and Jeff Blauser Cubs cards. Like, oh man. Because I had a bunch of Mickey Morandini and Jeff Blauser cards, but they were in Phillies and Braves uniforms in the early 90s. Had a bunch of them. But now they're in color. Like, this is cool. And then I finally, like at the end of that summer, I bought my first hobby box that I bought. I got one for Christmas in 91, football box in 91. But my first baseball box, 98 Bowman, and I fell in love with Bowman. And that's when my love affair with Bowman baseball cards began. The summer of 98. It's like a coming of age story. It is, and that's kind of like you're 16. That's like we all look back fondly. Probably when we look back fondly, when we hear music, when we watch movies, it takes us back, and it's probably around that time. It's probably like our peak. We peaked at 16. Where are we at? John says Sammy made $100 million off the Cubs. That should be enough for him. Yeah, probably not. Sammy was a little kind of a prima donna. Sammy was. Victor's a huge Manny Trio fan. Victor, are you going? You're coming to the Cubs convention, right? Started with the A's. Yeah, started with the Oakland A's. Mark says, loved Manny Trio's whip throw to first base. John says, 3.8 million in Venezuela puts you in Bill Gates territory. There's probably a lot of truth in that. Dan's in the house. What's going on, Dan? John migrated to the NFL after 1994. I migrated to the WWF. John says, I haven't really come back. I came back, but sporadically. Like 98 brought me back, and then that held on, and then I was off to college and doing college things. And I don't know when I started. Like baseball was always. Actually, I kind of stuck with baseball because I had a subscription to Baseball America in 2001, 2002. And I think by 2003, that's when I moved to Macomb. I don't think I was still as into baseball. And I'm trying to think, but I mean, it's kind of always been, it's been my primary. I'd say probably since 98, Major League Baseball has been my primary. College basketball for a while kind of took over my love, but for the most part, Major League Baseball has been my number one since 98. Wrestling was great in the 90s. Love or hate them, Sosa and McGwire saved baseball. Absolutely, 100%. Talking Tati says, I migrated to a new life after the 94 strike. Orlando says, don't forget Canseco. He started it. Yeah. Jose. Mark says the 1981 strike was a punch in the gut for a 13-year-old. 1994 just pissed me off. I just love the game too much. So when was I was about the same age as you during the 81 strike. The 94 strike, I was 12. That was the summer of my 12th birthday. Jordan says, I catch the show so much on the replay. I was like, man, I wish I could say something about that time. Let's see. Brian says, sounds like a backdrop for a new A Stephen King novel, the summer of 98. That's like the new thing. They're like turning like last year because the public domain, like Winnie the Pooh became public domain last year. And they made that like horror movie of Winnie the Pooh. And now Steamboat Mickey or Steamboat Willie or whatever the hell, like not Mickey Mouse, but Steamboat Willie or Mickey is now in the public domain. I think there's a whole bunch of others like Peter Pan. And there's a bunch of characters that are now in the public domain because the copyright is only lasts 95 years. So now there's like already a horror movie in the works of Steamboat Mickey. So that's what we'll do. The summer of 98, but we'll turn it into a horror film. Jordan says, I really thought I was listening on replay. Talking Tati says, Sammy was the man in the DR when I was there. He had drip swag before it was a word. I bet, man. Royals 417. I agree, Mark. 94 pissed me off, but never caused me to leave baseball. Being in college at the time gave me other stuff to focus on. I think that would probably be like the best is like if you're in college when something like that happens, but like Mark was 13, I was 12. Like those are like, that's our formative years. And you take baseball away from us? Shame on you, baseball. But yeah, in college, you got other things to focus on. Like, what's baseball? Victor says, no, I'm driving my son back to school on Saturday. Oh, man. Well, drive safe. I think we're supposed to get more snow on this weekend. Jordan says, am I the only one that watch everything? Sunday football, Sunday baseball, Saturday college football, college basketball, WWF on Mondays and Saturdays. Also the wide, and Saturdays, also the wide world of sports. So I watch football on Sundays. I don't watch it, but it's on in the background. I like having live sports on as background. I don't really watch it unless it's a game, unless it's the Western Illinois Leathernecks, who they play tomorrow night. They've won 7 in a row. They have not won 7 in a row since one of the seasons that I was there, 2012-13, which was a really good season for them. So I watch them. I watch the Badger basketball games. I don't really watch Saturday college football. It's on in the background, but I'm not really paying attention. I watch baseball. I love college basketball. I watch some wrestling. I had wrestling on NXT a little bit last night just because it's like, I just need something to watch in the background. Dan says Cleveland Steamboat. The Cleveland Steamer. Jordan watches NASCAR. No NASCAR for me. That's where I draw the line. Let's see. Sorry, Kyle and Ken. Dan says, I'm not seeing the option to remove messages typed. Huh. I don't know. Didn't know that existed. Good morning, Johnny M. What's happening? Flipping Sports Guy says, I did at one point in time, Jordan. Now there's just no time to watch that much. I've got all the time in the world. Shipping and listening and shipping. It's like, I need a break from watching stuff. Like, and again, I don't watch stuff, but it's background. It's like, God, I've run out of things. That's why I consume so much various content. It's like, because I'm like in this basement 14 hours a day. So I'm going to have a Dateline NBC in the background. It's like, okay, enough murder. Time to watch wrestling. Okay. Now I'll listen to a baseball podcast. So hobby content, little all over the place. Jordan says, I meant in the early 90s and mid to late 90s. Aha. Gotcha. So at that time, in that time period, I watched everything like in the 90s. And I think that's just because maybe it's the age we were at. I don't know. Jordan, how old are you? I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year. But that was like my the 1990s were my coming of age. And I was I only consumed sports. Like now, at least I have other things that I listen to that I'm interested in. But when I was like the entire decade of the 90s, I didn't care about anything else besides sports. My world revolved around sports. So like 42. So we're the same age. So like, yeah, I was the same. And, the early 90s I was watching, and we didn't have cable. I only had 4 channels: ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and of course PBS. Nobody watched PBS unless you were 80, or my parents who watched Antiques Roadshow and the Red Green Show. So whatever was on, and so like for a kid without cable, if sports is on, man, it's like I'm in a zone. So there was a time, I will admit, there was a time that I was interested in NASCAR. Probably 93, 94, somewhere in there. I can't tell you a reason why. I'm sure there was. My brother owned a plumbing and heating business, and he had like a DuPont relationship. So he would get to, and I guess that was kind of early on. That might have actually been his DuPont relationship was probably lit, because Jeff Gordon didn't come on until 92, 93. So maybe it was around that time. And I was so bummed because there was a race that my dad went to, and DuPont would take them, give them swag. They went back into the pits at the Chicago Speedway. And so my dad, my brother, and their friends would go every year to that race. And I was so bummed because I was like 12, 13, but it was like a grown-up trip. And I couldn't go because, I mean, all they did was get fucked up and drink beer all day. And I wasn't quite to that age yet. So I briefly, that's probably what introduced me to NASCAR. My dad was a huge gearhead, loved NASCAR, loved dirt track racing. He was into all of that stuff. And for a brief moment, I liked NASCAR. Unicorn Cupcake says, I loved when there was a rain delay on WGN and they would play those old home run derbies from the 60s. Oh, yeah. Mark says, Royals 417, I had more time to court my future ex, so I really hated the 94 strike. John says, I spent most of the 90s watching VHS movies on buses. Live TV was a rarity. Oh, yeah. Flipping Sports Guy says, a guy that spends 14 hours a day in the basement watching shows about murder. Everyone beware if you see Bo out on the streets. Right. Jordan says, Bob Ross. Flipping Sports Guy. Nailed it. NASCAR and WWF aren't sports. I would say by definition, it's a sport. By definition. Let's just look up, definition of sport. Definition. Okay. As a noun, an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against each other or others for entertainment. So wrestling, absolutely a sport, because it does involve physical exertion. It does involve skill. It does involve an individual or team, tag team, that compete against each other and for entertainment. So that's the entire definition, according to the Oxford Dictionary. As a verb, wear, display. Now NASCAR, it's like, does it involve physical exertion? I guess, yeah. It does take physical exertion to sit in a car going 200 miles an hour in circles for 3 hours. It does take skill to drive a 200 mile an hour car, and an individual does compete against another or others for entertainment. So I guess by definition, NASCAR also a sport, if you're going by the Oxford Dictionary definition. John says, wrestling does not meet the competition requirement. Well, they compete against each other. It is scripted. But I would say it's sport. It's sports entertainment. Sports entertainment. Talking Tati says, living in central New Jersey, growing up, we were lucky to get WOR, WPIX and PHL 17, all New York and Philly games. Didn't need cable. Victor says, remember watching the Blue Lagoon on VHS. Home Run Derby was filmed at Wrigley Field in Los Angeles. Blaine's in the house. He says NASCAR drivers sweat buckets and probably piss themselves. I'll call it a sport. I'm with you. I'll call it a sport. NASCAR drivers are sitting down, makes them stand, and I might change my mind. Jordan laughs. John sweats all the time. Where do I pick up my medal? I am a sweater too. But when I sweat, I am not I'm not usually doing physical exertion. It's just because I'm a sweater. And usually when I sweat, there's no skill involved. And I'm usually not competing against others. Although if I filmed it, I would be entertaining, watching me sweat over putting together a desk. That's what I had for today. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Madison Card Show coming up Saturday, January 27th. I think I'm sold out already, actually, on tables. So 135 dealer tables. I'll have my bargain boxes. That's going to be the next show that I set up at. I'm going to miss. There's a show in Rockford on this Saturday. Of course, I'll be at the Cubs convention, so I'll miss that. But I'll be back January 27th with my bargain boxes at the Madison Card Show. Let's throw the eBay store banner up, 99centcards.com. I did add about 100 yesterday. What did I add? I added some football, some 80s football commons. And I guess there's some 70s football in there as well. And some Heritage High Number. I don't know if I added those yesterday or 2 days ago. And I think I added some 2020 Ginter. 99 cents. Free shipping on those. So check it out. 99centcards.com, where you will find new inventory at just 99 cents with free shipping. You'll get them even cheaper if you buy 7 or more. You get 25% off. You'll get those for 75 cents a card. Check it out, 99centcards.com. Flawed Thinker loves NASCAR. Once you realize that holding a steering wheel to the left while you're getting the same amount of G's as an astronaut for 3 hours straight. Good point. Jordan says, well, at least we can say we had the best preteen to adult life. Amen. All righty. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I will go live tomorrow morning before I head off to Chicago. Cubs convention weekend. Hope to see you there if you're a Cubs fan in the area. I will be there with my 1 million Cubs cardometer. See me this weekend. So no Hobby Evolution Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'll be back live on Monday morning to recap a fun weekend. So if you don't want to listen to me talk about Cubs convention for an hour, don't listen Monday. I'm just going to tell you right now, there's just going to be a whole lot of Cubs talk on Monday morning. So I'm not going to, I was going to say, I apologize. No, I don't apologize. I'm not sorry. So like and subscribe. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.